From vinyl music sounds to lively verbal go-arounds.
This is Into the Runout. Let's move on to the deserving.
The deserving.
The neglected, the often
snubbed.
forgotten,
The
snubbed. Rock
Yes.
and Roll Hall of Fame hopefuls. Hopefully
hope.
some of them can get in before they kick the bucket, and some
Yeah.
a little too late, but we can at least try Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So let's do it.
Yes.
I got a list of roughly, that's a little less than 100, so we'll go through it rather quickly. I don't want to
Yeah.
take too much more time, but as I go down the list, we're going to, Tony, you jump in
Yeah.
if you see fit and cut
I'll
me
give
off
you-
and tell me, hey, I got to say something about this.
I will give you my best punchy offerings.
So let's do it this way. So it's a little clean. If you have something to say, raise your hand and I'll
Okay.
stop.
Raise your hand if you're sure.
We're in class. All right, class, pay attention. Here we go.
With it.
Joy to... Oh, man, that's such an inside joke. No one's going to get that. All right. Here we go. And I don't know who made this list. This is someone else's list, but we're using it as a starter point. Joy Division / New Order. I think that should be separate, technically. Because they both are basically the same thing. Joy Division foreshadowed New Order in the New Age world of music.
Okay.
Okay, so next, the B-52s.
Love Shack is
Love
a
Shack,
little
baby.
place where we can get together.
All right, Tony, I know you're going to agree with this one, Mariah Carey.
That's all I got to say.
Smashing Pumpkins.
Hey, Billy Corgan, he's got my vote.
Okay. Some say maybe a little too soon, but I don't know.
Maybe a little
Some
too
people
soon, but one day.
But there's nominees this year that came along way after them. So
I will say one day for Billy Corgan because I think they've earned it, but not until.
all right, this one I think you're going to agree with, Mr. Phil Collins.
Oh, the fact that he's
What are we
not-
waiting for?
Yeah,
The
what
guy
are
is literally 1 foot in the grave.
Yeah. What are we waiting for, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Are you waiting for him to go from, a wheelchair to, a bed where he can't move? Or we're going to have to wheel him in on a rollaway bed
Yeah,
to
and
receive his induction?
And this is not a sympathy vote either, a sympathy induction. This guy literally deserves it more than 75% of the people that are already in it.
Yeah.
I mean, with his work from Genesis to his solo stuff,
Yeah,
there's no denying that he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, up until, face value, Phil was already distinguishing himself as a great drummer, a great singer, and a great leader of Genesis after Peter Gabriel's departure. But then you go with, face value, and then Genesis self-titled, then No Jacket Required, then Invisible Touch, then But Seriously, then, just down the line. I mean, every single album, Genesis Phil, for a whole decade. I mean, Phil Collins was the 1980s.
You
Phil
could
Collins
not turn
was
on a radio
everywhere.
station. Yeah, you couldn't turn on a radio station, any of them, and not hear a Phil Collins song, whether it's
Yeah.
Genesis or Phil solo.
Yeah.
And do you recall when the Disney movie Tarzan came out?
That came out in the 90s. So then you have
In the 90s. So the late 90s.
Yeah, 90s. Then, You'll Be in My Heart.
So we're
And-
talking, this is probably his last commercially successful era would be with the Disney company. So you're talking, I mean, what is this going on? 40 years?
Yeah.
30 years?
Yeah.
35 years of nothing from Phil? What are you waiting for? Him to do something spectacular? I think he's already done that. So let's move on.
No, because even in 2012, he went back into the studio and he did this wonderful soul compilation called Going Back, which if you don't have it in your music collection, folks, go for it. Because he does soul, he does Motown. He even got two of the Living Funk Brothers at the time, Eddie Willis and Bob Babbitt, to come in and play on tracks on the album. he recreates so many great Motown songs, from "Take Me in Your Arms," the Kim Weston standard, to, you know, so many wonderful songs that were from that Motown era. He did a roaring version of "Standing in the Shadows of Love." I mean, a great album. And Phil, you know, he should have done that song arguably back in the 90s when his voice was stronger and more resonant and more projecting. But
Can't
even
Hurry
for the
Love
time,
era.
yeah, Can't Hurry Love era, which interestingly enough, years later, he got together with Lamont Dozier of the Holland Dozier Holland songwriting team that wrote how many #1 hits for Motown, Martha and the Vandellas, Diana Ross and the Supremes. And he got together with him and he did the song Two Hearts for the Butcher soundtrack and the #1 song. Then they collaborated on a song called Loco and Acapulco that was done by the Four Tops the following year. I mean, Phil Collins has been everywhere. He has been in the realm of rock, pop, soul, you name it. The man has done it all. And the fact that this man is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is one of not, if the not biggest crime in the history of that institution. And they need to get him in and get him in next year, hands down.
Okay, Tony, I just ordered you a shipment of chill pills from Amazon to come to your house. So they should be there. They should be there in the morning. So please take a couple chill pills.
Woo!
But I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Let's not run off the rails with this, but I do agree. He definitely deserved this.
I mean, come on. Mariah Carey, Phil Collins. Are you kidding me? Please, give me a break.
How do you... Let's move on. How do you feel about the Smiths? Are you familiar with the Smiths? We're back in the 80s new age.
People love Morrissey. People love the Smiths. I listen to it. I think it's just music to sleep by. But, I don't want to step on too many toes because, people say that somehow they captured something in the love story kind of breakup thing that somehow appealed to modern America. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too... Maybe my musical antecedents are wired differently, but
it's okay.
Everyone
has their own opinion.
Yeah, they had their moments, and they obviously had some commercial success in the UK and the States. But if they get in, I'm not gonna say but I'm gonna be like if it isn't Phil Collins.
I don't know what the criterion is for getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, but I feel like if you've made a difference, if you've made a change, if you've innovated something, that's an automatic in. Did the Smiths do that? Maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but they're on the fence for me too. But I do like the Smiths. They're a bit eclectic, and I do kind of like that they're different than other things and not cookie cutter. Fair. So I do like the fact that they're not a cookie cutter, and Morrissey also.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Now we're getting into a part where this is going to be another topic that we really haven't addressed, but we've talked about off camera. This is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not the Country Hall of Fame. It's not the Rap Hall of Fame. It's not the Classical Hall of Fame. It's not the Jazz Hall of Fame. It's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But we do know that there are people from different genres other than rock and roll that are already in and are being nominated. And that's the direction the hall has chosen to go, and that's fine. And whether you think they should change it to the Music Hall of Fame or just leave it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and just forget it says Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, doesn't matter anymore because, that's the route they've chosen. But the next person on my list is somebody that if you're going to break those barriers, somebody should be in it automatically is Garth Brooks.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, Garth, incredible because he came into that music realm. He came into the country realm that transcended into pop, and he did it like effortlessly. And I mean, The Dance was one of those songs that, covered all kinds of different genres. I mean, definitely country, but definitely pop. One of those guys, he was everywhere. He was everywhere on the radio for a long time.
Yep, and we talked about it on our Billy Joel special. He worked and covered a Billy Joel song.
Shameless.
Yep. I mean, he was all over genres, so maybe that makes him more qualified to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, based on everybody,
If anybody out of rock and roll genre deserves it, it's Garth Brooks.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Definitely deserves it. based on those who have already been inducted. That would be questionable in why they're being inducted into a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I think the line was drawn and it's been crossed. So past John would be like, this is preposterous. We can't have this.
Yeah.
But new John is like, okay, I'm fine with that. I like all music, so why not? Let's stop calling it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let's call it the Music Hall of Fame.
Let's call it the Music Hall of Fame.
Let's start inducting people that aren't dead.
Yeah.
Let's work on those two things, and I'll be okay with what's going on here.
Because we have bands and artists that we still haven't even touched on yet, that are in that group, and they're not getting any younger. They're not getting any younger.
Well, let's talk about Lionel Richie and the Commodores. They're not in.
Yeah, and I mean, if anybody, you want to talk about soul, you want to talk about funk, you want to talk about pop, you want to talk about music that made you want to dance, that made you want to groove, that made you want to just put your earphones on and just get lost. The songs you want to romance your lady to. The Commodores first, obviously with Lionel Richie, being played up as definitely the prominent singer, but even before Lionel's departure, one of the members sang Brick House, and then later on, of course, with Night Shift, when Lionel went on to his solo career. But my God, another guy in the 1980s until he went on a much-needed hiatus. Lionel Richie was everywhere in the 1980s. Truly, My Love,
He was the only one that could go toe-to-toe with Michael Jackson at the time.
Oh, yeah.
The only one.
And, Michael and Lionel wrote We Are the World. Dancing on the Ceiling, Ballerina Girl, Penny Lover, Running with the Knights, just on and on and on, Dancing on the Ceiling, Say You, Say Me, Love will find that duet that he did in the early album, Love Will Overcome or something. Just nonstop. And then when Lionel returned in the early 90s with the Back to Front album, he gave us that magnificent song, My Destiny. My God, I love that song. It was like Lionel going back to front, and he's there with the gals, and they're in the video, and they're dancing away, and here's Lionel just like he hadn't lost anything, and he's just cutting loose once again and reminding us how much we missed him for 5 years. That's the kind of impact Lionel had on our hearts. And even now, as he's doing American Idol and speaking into these young artists and young songwriters and young musicians who want to get in, and he's seeing the talent. This is a man who's involved in the industry, involved in people's lives, involved in the development of the musical sound of the future. And he left a body of work that, God forbid something happened to him tomorrow. Why is he not in the freaking Hall of Fame?
Well, I don't know if he personally is not, but the Commodores aren't.
I don't know. Did Lionel get in?
We'll have to look at that. I don't know. I don't want to do it on the show, but we'll look it up. And if everybody knows, drop it in the comments, and we'll correct it later. But
yeah,
but the Commodores, that's where it started, and they have such a base of work. It's amazing. And Lionel, like you said, Lionel himself is a spokesperson for the music industry. The guy has a great heart. He'll stand up for any artist that he feels is deserving of recognition. He's very accommodating, as far as I can tell. I don't know him personally, obviously, but it seems like a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
And I definitely appreciate everything he's done. And the Commodore stuff's great. I love that stuff. When I was a kid, my parents would always play that in the car or on the radio in the morning, getting ready for school. I can't get enough Commodores.
Yeah,
Earth, Wind, and Fire, that whole entire era. I can't get enough of that stuff.
But yeah, the Commodores, Truly, and Lady. Well, not Truly. Easy, Lady, 3 Times a Lady, Brick House. There were so many great songs. And if you're going to put artists in again that are known for just 1 or 2, the Commodores by themselves, and then later with Night Shift, more than qualify. And honestly, I don't. Yeah, I might be wrong about Lionel Richie. He might have gotten his nod, and hopefully he did. I'm now that I'm not looking at the chart in front of me, but yeah.
So we mentioned Mariah Carey, and I don't want to crap on Mariah Carey, but Mariah Carey and Commodores, come on.
Not even close.
Okay.
Yeah, Lionel did get inducted in 2022. So
awesome.
So Rant's
Deservingly
over.
so.
Deservingly so. But yeah, but still though, for everything that he did after the Commodores, without the Commodores, it's hard to say that Lionel would go on and have the kind of continual career. I mean, he would have still had a great career with the Commodores, but I mean, Lionel just went to a whole nother level based on just his incredible talent.
Well, yeah, and you got to think of the Commodores as a separate entity, and I think they deserve to be in there.
Yeah.
Even if Lionel didn't go on to a solo career, I think they had a great body of work and they did amazing things for the industry. I think they were well deserving of being in the Hall of Fame on their own.
Yeah, well, and they speak of not only that pop realm, but that funk realm. They got the horns. You got the
outfits.
The outfits. I mean, truly. I mean, they were a band that were a great. They were a great time for Motown because they were in that era where Motown was now in California, in Hollywood. They were doing movies. The Jackson 5 had kind of run their course as far as a group. The Jacksons were still there. They were still recording, but Lionel and the Commodores just ushered in something new and fresh for the label and for the industry. And wow, what a great group of guys.
Yep. So again, out of the rock and roll genre, switching over from Motown / funk genre, you're going over into the jazz genre, and Mr. John Coltrane isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, I'm just getting familiar with the jazz body of work, and especially the older jazz body of work. So, and I know his songs, and I don't know them by name.
I don't either. But
I know the guys, and I can hear his music. I just don't know the name of the song.
Yeah.
But the guy is a pioneer. He's on the Mount Rushmore of jazz. So why is he not in there if you've already crossed the barrier of rock and roll?
Absolutely. No question about it. Coltrane. Yeah. Definitely a thumbs up.
And I'm going to go off on a little tangent and then we'll come back. But since we're crossing over boundaries, why isn't Beethoven in? Why isn't Mozart in? Like, if we're going there, let's go there, right?
Yeah, well, I think they should just create a special line of demarcation and they do have one for like pioneers or sidemen, or they do have different categories that they've inducted people in. But I think they just need to create maybe some individual like departments under the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame banner. I think that would probably be better because it could then give more individuals an opportunity to get in, and I think that would be a big help as well. But no doubt, the classic guys, your Beethovens, your Chopins, your just Mozart's, absolutely.
So I think musically, what defines rock and roll, and I don't want to be that person to define rock and roll, but I think it's the three main instruments: the guitar, the drums, and the bass. I think if those are the prominent instruments in a song, that defines what a rock and roll song is, at least nowadays. And I think a band that probably should be in is a band Iron Maiden. I mean, you're getting into the heavy metal genre, but I mean, drums, rock, guitar, bass, Iron Maiden should be in.
Yeah.
Metallica should be in.
No question.
Motley Crue should be in.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, people like this should be in.
Yeah, I mean, they set themselves apart in their specific genre of music. I mean, you can't, because without Motley Crue, there is no Poison, there is no bands that follow that realm, because Motley Crue was a pioneer in the area of hard metal rock that also had a touch of glam and a touch of over the top nature, but yet a band that never, compromised on its identity and its sound. I mean, it is a bone crunching kind of rock sound that was, that made up that group of musicians, and no doubt Vince Neil, one of the most unique of rock voices, metal voices, because great band.
Well, a band that inspired them all, though, that's also not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is Motorhead.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
they've
true.
led the way. They
Yeah,
led the way for all these guys.
they really were. They really were. And yeah, so I mean, if you're gonna induct the ones that took the style to another level commercially, you should be able to pay homage and respect to the pioneers of that realm. And there's no question, you know. And no doubt Metallica. I mean, my goodness. I mean, a band that went from a garage metal band to a band that was able to transcend that metal genre and enter into a harder rock, refined, polished sound with the Black Album and everything they've done since. I mean, they were a band that was adaptable and versatile and capable and proficient in their skill, in their performance, in their crafting together of music, and and a group of guys that just are tremendous musicians, most importantly. I mean, Kurt Hammond is a dynamic guitarist. Lars Ulrich is one of the most proficient drummers. And James Hetfield is one of the most unique, vocalists, whether he's doing something gritty like Master of Puppets or that, or
Right.
then going more soulful and more heartfelt with One or Nothing Else Matters or Unforgiven. I mean, just, wow, a guy who just wowed us with incredible, just stunning versatility.
So bringing it back into very deserving artists that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think one that I think really deserves to be in is Roberta Flack,
Oh, yeah.
who is also not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. At one time, she had the longest running #1 song in the history of all songs, "Killing Me Softly."
Oh,
Um, most deservingly artist that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think.
oh yeah. And you know, first time I ever saw your face, and I think yeah, she certainly did some songs beyond that later, but yeah, just one of those distinct voices.
Yeah.
Just you hear that voice and it rings true. The sound of authenticity and rawness is just in every one of her performance, and smooth and elegant and engaging. Yeah, one of the great voices of music. She could have
Uh,
easily made it in the early jazz realm. She could
oh yeah.
have succeeded in the Billie Holiday, Ethel Waters era. She could have killed it in the soul era of the 60s. She would have knocked it dead in the pop realm of the 80s, 90s. I mean, she has a voice that could have found any expression in any generation of music, any style of music. She was that
Well,
good.
the funny thing is, further down the list, and I'm gonna skip over this part, but Lauryn Hill and the Fugees are also somebody that this list suggests they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but they covered "Killing Me Softly" as their top hit ever. So who do you think should go in first? I don't know. My vote's on Roberta Flack personally.
Yeah. I would say
I mean-
I would say the originator of the song should go in before,
Right.
the one who made it their signature song and did it, to define their career. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that's like no-brainer of the millennium.
Hey, when you were at the house last time, we talked about Miss Connie Francis. She's also not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and one of those. Well, again, we just lost her, in the last year, and one of those wonderful just voices that had great hits, and I mean, I love hearing the story of when Neil Sedaka and Howie Greenfield went to Connie with. And they were trying out songs, and Connie was like, no, no. And then, Neil looked at Howie and said, I'm going to play her Stupid Cupid. And he began to play the bars of Stupid Cupid, and Connie told the story. He said, like, that's it, boys. That's it. You got my next hit, Cupid, Stupid Cupid. What a smash. I mean, awesome. I mean, a gal who knew what a good hit was, what a good song was. She had that ear. She had great musical sensibilities. She was a great human being. And again, shame on you, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You were probably told hundreds of times and you just turned a deaf ear. And, but she should still be in regardless.
So this guy might be controversial, but in my book belongs in there just because he brought recognition to songs that people may not have known, but also brought to light the the seriousness that people were making the music industry out to be, but bringing to light that it wasn't that serious, is Mr. Weird Al Yankovic. The body of work that guy has, even though, and I would put him in the realm of Joe Cocker. You know, Joe Cocker, kind of his wheelhouse was cover songs for the most part, not always, but Weird Al, obviously, that was his. That's what he did, was rewrote songs into his own. I don't know how to put it.
But to play on the Carly Simon lyric, nobody does it better. Nobody did it better. Nobody has done it better. I mean, he was the originator of the parody song in that sense. I can't think of anybody before Weird Al or since who could take a song and not just lampoon it, but give it a whole nother lyric, a whole nother emphasis, and record it, put it out, and be arguably almost on the same plane as the hit. Whether it's Eat It, whether it's Fat, whether it's Like a Surgeon, whether it's Living with a Hernia, whether it's Taco Grande, whether it's, Yoda, whether it's, The Saga Begins, Take on American Pie. I mean,
Amish Paradise,
which of course, before Coolio did Gangster Paradise, there was a whole nother Paradise song that Coolio covered, which Coolio failed to mention when he one day was ranting about Weird Al taking his song. No, Coolio, you took the song first. It was a song that was recorded way back in the 80s. Some other Paradise song. He just took the style and ran with it and turned it into a 90s hit. But I mean, from his early days with Dr. Demento, with Another One Rides the Bus, to getting into, everything that he has done. And when you listen to even the songs that he does live that are just pop songs and rock songs. I mean, I listened to him doing a live version of What Is Life by George Harrison. Oh my God. I mean, what a guy whose musical soul is just, okay, I want to do justice to whoever it is that I'm singing about, whether it's the actual song or the spirit of the song, in my own unique lampooning, but authentically crafted and delivered way. Yeah, Weird Al was unique and remains unique in that genre, and there will never be another artist and singer like him ever.
We talked about, just before we started recording, about comedians doing straight bits before they became comedians, and I guess you would consider Weird Al's music genre to be comedy, but he can do a straight song better than anybody. Just
for sure,
staying true to the original version.
For sure. In fact, I'm trying to think. There's I'm trying to think on the Fat album. He did a song. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was, he did, he recorded a version of George of the Jungle that was just like George of the Jungle. And it had the musical background, but it was him singing the vocal performance that the original singer sang, but he sang it with the same kind of whimsical, what tough for that tree, but it was Weird Al singing it. And it was dynamite. I enjoyed listening to that version as much as I enjoy pulling up the YouTube, version of watching the original cartoon. But, a guy who had absolute and, great singer. I mean, dynamite singer, one of the better singers. He doesn't get enough respect for his very versatile and just spot on voice.
And he's a great accordion player too.
A very great accordion player. If Frankie Yankovic had not been, a great accordion player, it could have been Weird Al Yankovic that could have been the polka king. But
hey, we talked about this guy too in the past, Barry White.
Oh.
He's not there. He's not there.
Come on.
Luther Vandross.
Oh, come on.
What are we doing?
I mean, Barry White, come on now. I mean, the man who gave us Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe, First, Last, Everything, even when he was doing the Loves Orchestra, that beautiful Loves theme, that was completely composed, completely recorded by him. That's his music. That's the guitar. That's the strings. Yep. I mean, what a majestic, marvelous, magnificent composition. Just, but that was the musical talent that Barry White possessed. And that was before we knew a lick about his, super baritone voice and that incredible, journey that he took us on, which, I mean, I can say that the population definitely, the population of babies that were born into the world were undoubtedly in that era a byproduct increase of the songs of Barry White. They can certainly lay claim to coming into the world via a Barry White song. I have no doubt about that. No doubt about that. There's nothing pretentious or assumptive about that statement. Many of conception were done because of Barry White.
I hate to say this, but I'm gonna Styx. Tony, I know Styx is in your heart, deep in your heart, in mine too.
Yeah,
but
again, we referred to the musical magazine, and yes, Rolling Stone and publications of that era. They're vicious, vile, unfair, inaccurate, outrageous, totally just jealous, envious, vindictive summary of bands like Styx, calling them corporate rock, calling them schmaltz, calling them schlock rock, every other name under the sun. Sorry, guys, you were wrong then, you're wrong now, and you'll always be wrong. And it was that kind of snub that went against the band that has, I believe, kept them out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is a band that put out not one, not two, not three, but 4 consecutive triple platinum albums. From John Records Landecker of WLS fame deciding that he was going to play Lady on his show every night until it became a hit, giving Styx that first necessary, much-needed exposure that exposed them to the wider, range of radio listeners in 1975, that gave Styx their first top 10 hit to the subsequent A&M albums, which included a great album in Equinox, a decent follow-up in Crystal Ball, where Tommy Shaw joined the band, to the band's breakout 7th album, Grand Illusion, Come Sail Away, Grand Illusion, Fooling Yourself, on to Pieces of 8, where Tommy Shaw really shined, Renegade and Blue Collar Man, to Dennis taking the band in more of a pop direction with Babe and Why Me, to the return to form album with The Best of Times, Too Much Time on My Hands, Rocking the Paradise, of course, the great Paradise Theater album, and then to Dennis DeYoung's incredible musical vision and conceptual album, which spoke of the time of censorship and expression and musical freedom. In Kilroy Was Here, giving us Mr. Roboto, giving us Don't Let It End, to their return in the 90s, to the Return to Paradise album, and the re-release of Lady in 95. I mean, a band that for those years between 1972 and 1999, before Dennis's departure out of the band, 27 years of musical magnificence from a group of guys from Chicago and eventually one man from Alabama who found great musical influence that definitely gained a broad spectrum of interest, but shouldn't have been vilified for it, because they never took out a corporate label. They never did any corporate marketing. They found mass appeal and they were demonized for it. And Dennis DeYoung, one of the greatest, if not one of the greatest vocalists ever, hands down, in the history of any music genre. The man's voice, just distinct, powerful, I mean,
hey, and we're not biased being from Chicago either.
No.
Just letting you know that.
No, but that Styx. That was Styx. And I mean, Chuck and John Panazzo, the heartbeat, the background, the bass, the percussion, the paternal twin brothers that they joined up with Dennis. They became the 3-man band. and those were the early days of TW4, the trade winds, and ultimately arriving on 6 because nobody disagreed with the song. Nobody hated it. They didn't like it, but they didn't hate it. So it became the name. And
so I have 36 more names. And keeping time into consideration, I'm going to rattle all 36 off.
All right.
And then when I'm done, this is the challenge, Tony. When I'm done, whatever stands out the most, I want you to let us know how you feel about that. Okay?
Okay.
So let me get through the list. And then whatever sticks out in the end, you talk. Well, let's finish up with that one.
All right.
Let me know when you're ready.
All right. I got my trusty pen.
I'll go a little slow, but not too slow.
Okay.
The Monkees, Graham Parsons, Pointer Sisters, Bryan Adams, Sonny and Cher, Glenn Campbell, John Prine, Chris Christopherson, Shania Twain, TLC, Queen Latifah, Loretta Lynn, Huey Lewis and the News, Toto, In Excess, No Doubt, Tracy Chapman, Marianne Faithfull, going way back, The Marvelettes, going way back, REO Speedwagon, come on, Don Henley, come on, Boys to Men, Ella frickin' Fitzgerald,
Oh, my God.
Stone Temple Pilots, Merle Haggard,
Oh.
Tears for Fears, The Great Boston we've talked about,
Mm-hmm.
Mary Wells, The Great Patsy Cline, Steve Winwood, The Village People, leading the way for the disco era, Barbara frickin' Streisand, Babs, Big Star, take 'em or leave 'em. And then my 2 write-ins, I wrote these guys in on the end because they weren't on the list, UB40 and Los Lobos. And I'll elaborate on that. UB40, Los Lobos. So let's go back to the 80s, right? UB40, what do you think? Do you think of anything, Tony?
Red
Wine.
Took a
That's
Neil Diamond song and reggaeed it up and gave us a timeless
Now-
#1 song.
Los Lobos, what do you think of?
Well, unfortunately, we think of La Bamba, but we forget that they are a tight, incredible band that, as far as Chicano, Latin, just that whole Latin infusion, just a band that was tight and talented and incredibly better, 10 times better than La Bamba ever was. They just,
Yeah, La Bamba was the commercial joke of Los Lobos' career.
Yeah,
But
really.
that put them on the
Well
map,
said.
and they put them on my map to pay attention to them. UB40, Los Lobos both have a gigantic catalog of music before their commercially successful records. So if you haven't heard their catalog, definitely listen to it. UB40, obviously more reggae based, but just an enormous catalog. And a great cover song of Allman Brothers. I can't think of the song, but a great cover of the Allman Brothers. What's their hit?
Gremlin Man.
No.
Melissa.
Midnight Rider.
Oh, Midnight Rider. Yes, Midnight Rider. Yes.
Amazing version of Midnight Rider.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So write that down, Tony. Listen to that. Amazing reggae version of Midnight Rider.
Ooh, wow.
And then Los Lobos just has so many amazing songs. And I wouldn't call them Chicano at all. I would call them more indie than anything.
Yeah, maybe not Chicano. I was trying to think of a style, but definitely.
But I mean, they do have that style, but more indie rock kind of style than anything. And definitely Tex-Mex and all that stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But they have a deep, deep, deep catalog, and there's some blues in there and everything. Really good stuff. Can't get enough of that stuff.
Yeah.
But so what stood out on that list as we went down the list?
God, most of them. I mean, and there's a few
let's give ourselves, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, I can go down and just give you just a little summary of each one that I wrote down. And there's a few that you didn't mention that I saw about. A band like Asia,
Oh yeah.
Heat of the Moment and Only Time Will Tell and Don't Cry. A great 80s kind of band that embodied that super group kind of realm with great synthesizers and great guitar, great lyrics and great vocals. America, they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh,
how can America not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I'm ashamed I didn't mention them.
Horse with No Name, Lonely People. I mean, just down the line, a band that should have been in 20 years ago, because America's no different now in 2025 than they were in 2005.
Right.
Greg Allman, apart from his time with the Allman Brothers, he put together a solid career. He certainly deserves some consideration. Barbra Streisand, come on. I mean, say what you want about her as far as, her opinions on life and such. The voice that defined a generation. A voice that musically, the voice that I mean, when she got together with Barry Gibb, those songs just alone were just compelling. What Kind of Fool, Woman in Love, and Guilty. I mean, just those three songs alone were just earth shakers. But yeah, the fact that Barbara's not in the Hall of Fame and other singers have is crazy. Another band that I saw, Badfinger, came out of the Apple Corps era, and were contemporaries of the Beatles, and sadly they were done in by shady management and a corporate structure that drove a couple of the members over the top and unfortunately to a premature departure. But a band that rock wise, every time you hear Time After Time, no matter what, Baby Blue or Come and Get It, I mean, those are songs you turn up because they were just a great band that deserved so much more. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, another band that I saw that was You Made Me Very Happy. Spinning
What goes
Wheel
up must come down.
Must Come Down. When I Die, great stuff. The Monkees. I mean, okay, great. They started out as a band, about four guys about a band that were but what they became in terms of the hits, taking Neil Diamond's early hit songs and turning them into hits, taking songs from Jerry Goffin and Carole King, Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil, Tommy Boyce and Bruce Hart, and creating this incredible musical catalog. Mickey Dolenz, who we still do have, thank God, but the voice on so many of those great songs, and a band that distinguished themselves as being more than a television show, a band that truly became a band because they started playing live and started, showing that they're more than just four guys that jumped onto a TV show about a band. They became a band, and they certainly deserve, just for their job as pioneers in a rare realm that, appealed to a generation, as the American Fab Four. Pointer Sisters, come on now. The 1980s, where were you where you did not hear a Pointer Sister song? Slow Hand, Automatic, Jump. I mean, just down the line.
Neutron Dance.
I mean, some gal did some song a while back that had a woo-hoo in it, and I'm just like, wait a minute. You just stole the Pointer Sisters woo-hoo in your silly, cheesy song. No, I mean, those gals, and even early on, I mean, they did songs in the 70s that were absolutely phenomenal. They did a song called Yes We Can, and it was about this hopeful song about, being better and becoming, transcending the disappointments of the time, being optimistic. I mean, these gals were just, unbelievable. And
come on, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you got to jump in.
Yeah. And another Another jump, absolutely. Jump, baby. Brian Adams. Why is he not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Sonny and Cher, pioneers, you know? I mean, sure, I got you, babe, but, you know, also the beat goes on. And, you know, just it was a start for Cher. It proved that Sonny Bono had great musical sensibilities. He showcased Cher, introduced her to the world. Glenn Campbell, come on, are you kidding me? I mean, Rhinestone Cowboy, Southern Nights, Wichita lineman. I mean, just one of those guys. He should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame.
And I could see why they slept on him because he's technically country, but now that you cross the line, let's go. It's time to move forward.
Yeah, they walked the line, so, you know, then they crossed it. Yeah. Mary Wells. Before there was Martha Reeves, before there was Diana Ross, before there was anybody, it was Mary Wells. Mary Wells was one of the first voices of Motown. And yes, her career was not necessarily a highly successful one when she left Motown, but she was one of those indelible singers that laid the groundwork for the other ladies to come, including the Marvelettes. I mean, Beechwood. I remember. I forget the music, the numbers that followed that. But, you know, Please, Mr. Postman. I mean, a great group of gals that when they ever talk about the great girl groups of Motown, they are conveniently left out. It's always the Supremes. It's sometimes the Vandellas, but it's never the Marvelettes, and that's a shame. They got slighted when they were in Motown, and they're still getting slighted today with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let's see. Chris Christopherson, you could argue. Shania Twain, great career. I mean, she's certainly given Garth Brooks's, success same time. Queen Latifah from a standpoint of early pioneer of like a soulful kind of hip hop, innovative sound, rap. Queen Latifah showed her chops early on, and it was certainly from a pioneer standpoint. I think she deserves some props. Let's see. Did you say Loretta Lynn?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. How could she not?
I mean, if you're putting Glenn Campbell in and people like that, sure.
Yeah, but come on, Steve Winwood. Are you kidding me? I mean, the man was Spencer Davis Group, then he was Traffic, then he was solo. I mean, the man did everything. Rock and roll, jazz, fusion jazz, soul, and pop. I mean, the man could do it all.
And how old was he in Traffic? 16?
He was about 16 in the Spencer Davis Group,
so
and he might have been maybe
doing
18.
it for a little bit.
Yeah, he's been doing it
Spencer
for a little
Davis,
bit.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And by the time we get to the end of his kind of run in the charts, we're talking late 80s, early 90s. I mean, we were just graduating high school, John, 35 years ago.
And that's when I'm just picking up on the guy. I'm like, back in the high life. Okay, I love this song. And then I went backwards and saw the, Traffic, Spencer Davis. This is the same guy, same kid.
Yeah.
He's been in the business forever. Let's go, people.
Yeah. And I mean, Spencer Davis, giving some loving. I'm a Man, Traffic, Empty Pages, Willis Parker High Heel Boys, Glad. They did a great little version of Feeling All Right that was really good, that had Dave Mason in it before he went off and did solo. Dear Mr. Fantasy. I mean, just the instrumental version of Glad. Just great. Just the great horns, the great piano, the great driving beat. And that's Steve Winwood arranging and putting all that together. And then on to the solo stuff, Valerie, which of course got remixed and recorded later and gained a whole new realm of, but then While You See a Chance, then you go to Back in the High Life. And then you have Higher Love, of course, the great song. I mean, Shaka Khan joins him with Higher Love. James Taylor joins him with Back in the High Life. Then you go to Roll With It and Don't You Know What the Night Can Do? And, Holding On. I mean, then he gets back together and does some Traffic things with Joe Capaldi and the original members, and they go on the road. Then he performs with Tom Petty, and he does things together with other people. But, I mean, the guy has been a stalwart. Just one of the constant resonating voices in the world of music since the 1960s and finding success in every single realm of music that he ever went to. I mean, Eric Clapton was blown away. Oh, yeah, Blind Faith. He was in Blind Faith, Eric Clapton and Ginger Baker. And, and Eric was saying, here's this little 16-year-old kid singing like Ray Charles. And he's sitting there on the piano at 18 years old singing Georgia on My Mind. I mean, the dude could do it all.
We can't even mention how much stuff he's done. So that's an obvious into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And
definitely deserving.
Huey Lewis in the News. Give me a break. 1980s. Where were you when you did not hear a song from Huey Lewis in the News? I mean, from the Back to the Future soundtrack to Do You Believe in Love to Foreign Sports to Hard at Play to Small World, everything in the 1980s, all the hits, all the number ones, all the chart top tens. I mean, just a unique band, a well, just polished, absolutely proficient, solid band, not a single flaw in that whole group of guys.
I feel like anybody in We Are the World project is an automatic into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Yep. If you just believe there's no way we can fail, no way we can fall. I mean, that was Huey's offering, and we still believe that. If you just believe there's no way we can fall. Toto, come on now. I mean, the guys who were the heart and soul of Silk Degrees by Boz Scaggs. The
musicianship alone deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
The Porcaro brothers, David Paich. I mean, come on, Steve Lukather.
Everybody everybody that's already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame would have killed to have that band backing them up.
Right, exactly. And In Excess. I mean, come on, for the love of God. Michael Hutchence has been gone for way too long. We lost him way too young. But, I mean, those boys from Australia, one of the finest that ever came onto the scene. They brought a sound that was unique and special in the 80s. The Kick album is still one of the most epic classic albums of all time. And even the work that followed was still top-notch and solid. I mean, Michael Hutchence was such a talent, and that band certainly deserves. I mean, they had broad mass appeal, but they also made great music, and even the music that preceded. Kick.
Yeah, think of U2. U2 is a great band right now, and has been for a long time. And Bono and Hutchinson were great friends at the time when he was still around. And I really think if he would have still been alive, In Excess would have still been active, I think they would have surpassed U2 as a band, commercially, artistically, whatever the case may be.
I couldn't disagree with you on that point because, U2 has certainly had success, but I mean, I really think In Excess had that it factor. And had they kept on going and had Michael Hutchence' life kind of stayed on track and he hadn't had, the setbacks physically and ultimately, domestically that drove him over the top and off the edge. I mean, no telling what that band could have done. But yeah, I mean, and it's an homage too, not an homage, but a shout out to my brother because he was a huge In Excess fan song when he was in grade school. And he really turned me on to the music of those boys. And I thank my brother for it because I don't think I would have known In Excess remotely as much had it not been for my brother Michael. So props to you, bro.
Thanks, Mike.
But, Tracy Chapman, certainly, I mean, I think she certainly deserves it. Fast Car was one of those songs that was very unique. Give me one reason to stay here. And now Fast Car being popular in the modern realm with that country artist giving it, a treatment. I mean, very, very creative. Village People. Yeah, certainly, like you said, they certainly were one of those bands that kind of ushered in a unique era of disco and yet also kind of little funky because of their lead singer. He had a great voice and a great musical performance to it, and they were certainly a phenomenon of their time, a product of their time. And I mean, people can. I mean, you can't go anywhere and not know what this is. When you see this, you know where you're going. It takes about 3 seconds to associate it. And that came after the band became a hit. They were on like Bandstand or Soul Train, and everybody was doing the YMCA, and the guys were like, whoa.
Could have been Solid Gold, too. I don't know.
Could have been Solid Gold. It was one of those stations. But let's see. Hank Jr., without a doubt. REO Speedwagon, come on. I mean, from their early days with Kevin Cronin, he stepped away for a couple of years. He came back to the band. The moment he came back, it was Keep Pushing. It was Golden Country. It was those songs that led up to ultimately, that 70s era where you can tune a piano but you can't tune a fish, with Time for Me to Fly and Roll with the Changes, Into High Infidelity, the juggernaut that put REO Speedwagon on the map, Keep on Loving You, In Your Letter, um 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 Take It on the Run. It's just incredible. And then later on, Can't Fight This Feeling, In My Dreams. Just a band that was positively, again, found mass appeal. A group of 5 guys that had, hit it hard up until '89. Alan Grasser stepped away to be with family. Gary Richrath moved on because he had some personal demons. He was able to come back in and get some stage time with the band, kind of got his flowers while he was still alive in that respect. But this is a band that, despite Kevin Cronin departing, they're a band that never got their due in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they deserve it.
Same talent line as Styx in my book, and they just got crapped on by the critics exactly the same.
Yeah, and I mean, come on, High Fidelity was the best album of one of the best albums, if not the best album of 1981. And I mean, I'm sorry, when Gary Richrath took that solo in Keep on Loving You, he gave it a naughty, funky, he demonstrated his rock and roll sensibility by taking that song and throwing his indelible musical imprint and changed that song, and I believe took that song from here and moved it up to here, where it became an undeniable #1 song. And that was what made the relationship between Gary and Kevin as special as it was, and said that Gary got disgruntled as the sound got more pop and the tension kind of deepened, and it ultimately led to his departure. But I mean, in that time of the band, I mean, God, I mean, you listen to the live album, you get what you play for. When you listen to songs like Golden Country, I mean, turn on Golden Country, folks. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Turn on Golden Country. Listen to that song. Listen to the keyboards. Listen to the organ. Listen to the guitar. Listen to the vocals. Listen to the message. Listen to the energy. Listen to the just unbroken, it's there, man. It's there. They had all the makings of a Hall of Fame band, and that was pre-1976. It was incredible. Why they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I don't know. Yeah, another group in there, the Black Crowes. One could argue their, importance when they came on the scene. They kind of came in the style of I don't know, I want to say like maybe a Rolling Stones, Aerosmith kind of,
more Southern rock.
More Southern
pointed,
rock.
Right.
And yet when they did Hard to Handle, you could see the soul influence, because they were taking this old Otis Redding song, and they were giving it a treatment. And I remember listening to The Loop back in the day. They did a remix where you had these horns playing in the background that weren't on the actual album, but they did some remix that had horns in there. So, that was like, whoa, that was really, really cool, because you didn't hear that on the actual album. But yeah, right. I mean, Remedy, Hard to Handle, Remedy, She Talks to Angels. Yeah, I mean, just the lead singer had some incredible soul and some incredible music sensibility in a band that was really tight and really just put out some great music, mainstream, but also just great music in general. So, I mean, I certainly think they deserve a look. Boys to Men, I mean, people, I personally think they tried to make Boys to Men too much like a Motown. They tried to elevate them to a Temptations 4 Tops status a little too prematurely, but great singers. But I still don't believe the song End of the World should have been 16 weeks at number 1. I love the song. It's a great song, but come on.
End of the road.
What did I say?
End of the world.
End of the Well, that's what I kind of felt like. I kind of felt like it was the end of the world if we had to have this song number 1 for one more week. It was just
a little bit pushed into our faces, a little too much.
And that was the part that disappointed me.
But that was radio. That wasn't any fault of their own.
No,
that was radio.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let's see. Stone Temple Pilots, certainly, a great band in the 90s. Trying to think, Interstate Love Song, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and they also did a very interesting cover of Dancing Days, which was of Led Zeppelin's song, which I thought was really, really, really well done. They certainly had a hard edge to their sound, and the vocalist was certainly very unique, a very unique vocalist, very unique.
Well, and you remember, I think it was our last, our crossover episode, we talked about our favorite albums of all time. And I mentioned the Purple album by Stone Temple Pilots.
You did.
And looking back on that episode, I'm like, oh, there's a whole bunch more I should have said, but I couldn't remember. I was kind of put on the spot. But I do love that album because I think it's one of the last, and I don't know if you've listened to it at all or all the way through, but it's one of the last kind of, in my book, concept albums. It has, from beginning to end, it has every song kind of leads into each other and has a purpose, and it's a really good album. And you can take the songs individually or all together as an album. It just all makes sense to me. And I just like listening to the album all the way through. It's really good.
Well, I'll have to give that a listen because I never had, just because that was in that 90s era where I certainly was, a little more detached from the music of the time, but certainly recognizing.
And I was too, but they kind of stood out for me. They were a little bit different than everybody else. I think they kind of had something that they were going for, and everybody else was out there jamming, which is cool too.
Yeah.
But they had more of a kind of a vision, I think.
No, I would agree. I would certainly agree. And I certainly have to say that the melody that made up Interstate Love Song was certainly, it was very unique. And I got to say, there was a period right before I got married where I got together with one of our classmates I was together with a group of his friends, including somebody who we briefly went to high school with before he transferred out. But they were kind of making me the lead singer of this band, and it never materialized because, at that point I had gotten, engaged to my now wife, and, it just wasn't going to work. But we got together one day and we sang a few songs, and one of them was Interstate Love Song. And I had the opportunity to sit and really consume the lyric and catch the feel and the emotion of the song. And I'll tell you, it gave me a real deep appreciation for that song that I had never felt until you actually listen to a song, read the lyric, consume it,
right,
and then sing it. And I gotta say that song gained a whole new appreciation for me in that, wow, you're actually singing your lies. Whoa. It's like you really feel what the writer and was trying to convey there, and it took on a whole new depth of appreciation for me. And yeah, it was an experience that I'll never forget, truly. So on to the last group. Merle Haggard, come on. If you're gonna put in greats of country music, the fact that Merle Haggard is not in the Hall of Fame is ridiculous. He should be in there, and for reasons that don't even need mentioning. I mean, the man is and will always be one of the pioneers and one of the icons of country music. You can say Johnny Cash, but Merle Haggard is easily and undoubtedly in that conversation. And
how? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You know how he got his start in music? You know how he got his drive to pursue a music career?
How?
Are you familiar with this story? He was actually at San Quentin. He was an inmate when Johnny Cash played there. He was in the crowd and heard him, and he's like, "That's what I want to do."
Wow. Unbelievable.
Twist of fate. I just saw that in a Ken's Burn documentary about country music.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is truly remarkable. But
Yep.
Again, the power of music. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm sure other artists that made it probably could say that maybe in their most desperate time they heard an artist or a song and it inspired them to go and explore something that they would have never explored. So, but what a
Right.
story.
Yeah.
What a story. And you mentioned Hank Williams Jr. I mean, following in the footsteps of his famous father, giving us some great songs. I mean, Are You Ready to Rock? Country Boy Can Survive.
Are you ready for some football?
Are you ready for some football? Right. Did I say Are You Ready to Rock? Oh my Lord.
I mean, I don't know if that's the name of the song. Is that the name of the song?
I don't know. That's just entered into my mind. That might have been a faux pas on my part. We might have to edit that one out. That was bad.
I mean, if your dad's one of the pioneers of country music, you should be grandfathered in, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to let some of the ones in, you certainly have to give that one. And when we're talking about pioneers, speaking of pioneers, come on, Ella Fitzgerald.
Right.
I mean, one of the coolest, most elegant, one of the most dynamic, one of the most prolific singers of all time in any musical genre. But I mean, her voice just, I mean, I think of, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. And, and I mean, come on, Stevie Wonder, when he did the song Sir Duke and told us about the great, people of music, he said, there's Basie, Miller, Satchmo, and the king of all Sir Duke. And with a voice like Ella's ringing out, there's no way the band could lose. And, he chose to talk about Ella. He chose to distinguish Ella from all the other great voices that were, obviously, there were great voices out there. There was Billie Holiday. There was Ethel Waters. There were certainly iconic voices that have, whose voices were known. But Ella was in a class all by herself. And even years later, in the early 80s, when she got together and did this Masquerade with Karen Carpenter. Whoa. Man, Karen got the chance to sing with a legend, and those two voices together, two different eras, two different styles, two different vocal, just everything different, and yet those two together, masterful. Just an amazing song, the two of them together.
It was like mixing oil and oil.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. And then we got a couple big ones to end with. Tears for Fears. I mean, songs from the big chair. If there was a band that could get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just on the basis of one album, you could make an argument for Tears for Fears just for that one album.
I play that album all the time, front to back. I have the vinyl behind me all the time. Everybody Wants to Rule the World is my 80s theme song. If I had to pick a theme song for the entire decade of the 80s, that's it.
Yeah.
And I don't think there would be an 80s music movement or anything without Tears for Fears.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was Shout. That and Money for Nothing by the Dire Straits and Sting. I mean, those two songs to me were two of the embodiments of that year 1985. But I mean, when I hear that, you know what it's leading into. And they just, Roland Orbital's voice he just reels you in like a skilled fisherman with that just amazing voice. Shout. Whoa. And I mean, I can tell you there have been many hours where I'm just listening to that song and I'm just waiting for that last "come on, am I talking to you, come on," and then there it goes. Wah, wah. Forget about it. That guitar solo, whoa. I mean,
and I think the 80s, I hate to use this word, but I think the 80s prostituted so many artists they were one-hit wonders and they were one and done. But when Sowing the Seeds of Love came out in the 90s, off of songs from the Big Chair, I mean, Tears for Fears just proved that they were, a great band, not
Oh,
just from
oh,
one single genre, one single decade.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, I mean, with the two from there and Head Over Heels, but yeah, then you go to Sowing the Seeds of Love, Advice for the Young at Heart, a very beautiful album and a band that was still continuing with great pressure. And with great pressure did come great tension. And for a short time, it created a break between Roland Oberzol and Kurt Smith. But happily ever after, later on, they come back together, and now for the last 20 some odd years, they've been out there recording, touring, being the great duo that they always were. And yeah, I mean, they certainly were a band that ushered in something very, very special. And musically, you can't deny that those songs, they're as iconic as the year and the decade that they came out of. I mean, you can associate the 80s to certain bands, and Tears for Fears is right up there with the bands that embody the sound, the spirit, the energy, and the creativity of that very magical decade. And we end with, from my list, the man who came from first the Eagles to pioneering a very, very, very successful solo career, having released several albums in the decade of the 1980s. And that, of course, is Mr. Don Henley.
Yep.
Giving us a song that still remains as prevalent and timeless and as humorous as the day he recorded it in the early 80s, a song called Dirty Laundry, which gave us, a blistering guitar solo by Joe Walsh and then another guitar solo by Danny Korchmar, and a song that tells us the great story about the evening news and still is as accurate as it was when it was released in the early 1980s. And, just it started Don on a path where he explored it further with, the following album that had Sunset Grill, Boys of Summer, and All She Wants to Do Is Dance. I mean, iconic songs, great songs. Not Enough Love in the World, a part of that album as well. 4 great songs. Then on to the later part of the decade, End of the Innocence, the title track, Last Worthless Evening,
New York Minute.
New York Minute. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, an artist who set himself apart from a very, very, very extremely successful and relevant rock band, which he still is a part of today, and is riding that band, him and the band, into the sunset as far as, performing live. But that era of Don Henley in the 80s certainly deserves recognition in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for how he was able to take the success of the Eagles and still ride a whole new wave of a unique sound that wasn't the Eagles. And that's what made Don's music unique.
And how about that duo, I Will Not Go Quietly, with Axl Rose?
That is true. He did do that in the End of the Innocence album. That's right.
Yeah.
He did. He sure did.
What a matchup. That's an unlikely matchup for sure.
A very unlikely
I love
matchup.
that song. That's a very unique song, and I like it.
I remember when that came out, I was kind of stunned. I'm like, whoa, because, I had my opinions about Axl Rose back in the day, but I had to give Axl Rose some props.
Made you think twice.
It did. It really,
You're
really
like,
did.
well, if he likes Don Henley, maybe I can like him a little bit too.
A little bit, right? Exactly. But yeah, I mean that End of the Innocence album was truly a fabulous album. And then if you go a little bit further into the 90s, Don Henley got together with Trisha Yearwood and recorded a beautiful duet called Walk Away Joe, so that was another moment of Don, demonstrating his musical versatility, getting together with somebody of a different genre and yet recording a song that could have played on any type of style of music. It could have been pop, could have been country, could have been whatever. I mean, he just has that kind of musical sensibility.
Well, I think that wraps up our roast. I think this turned into a roast of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is,
Yeah,
I think it's well deserved. You guys deserve it. You guys need to work on some stuff, but
yeah.
I'm still happy that you're doing it, and I'm looking forward to watching the this weekend, watching the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But you got to work on it, man, because a lot of people are sliding through. Go
wait
ahead,
a minute.
Tony. What do you got?
Wait a minute.
We missed something. We missed something.
I almost forgot about him. I was listening to a couple of albums of his on your turntable before you came back with the bagel sandwiches. The young man who's now not a young man anymore, but the man from Louisiana who came and forged his own unique brand of rock and roll deep from the Southern Bayou and forged a career in the 1970s, 60s, and 70s that was special and significant and timeless. And that, of course, is Mr. Johnny Rivers. And I mean, I was a little boy, and I told this in our interim episode that, you know, I was a little boy listening to Live from Whiskey A Go-Go on my record player and listening to him do Chuck Berry's Memphis and the subsequent songs, a roaring version of Twist and Shout, and just a man who had already gained the respect of his contemporaries. On the back of that Whiskey A Go-Go album, there are loads and loads of people giving high praise to Johnny Rivers as a performer, as an artist, as a singer, as a songwriter, an interpreter of great music. And he was able to, of course, interpret songs like Chuck Berry's, you know, Tracks of My Tears, you know, which of course was the great Smokey Robinson song. But he was also able to do unique, you know, Baby I Need Your Lovin', the great Four Tops Motown song. But he was able to do great songs of his own, from Rockin' Pneumonia to Poor Side of Town to Summer Rain. I mean, that song alone. Oh my God. I mean, a man who released some of the most timeless music of that era and continues to this day to be one of the artists that we go back to and say, you know, who was a guy who just distinguished himself from his contemporaries. Johnny Rivers was the guy. And the fact that he is still not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he just stopped touring in the last couple of years. And if there's a man who deserves his flowers while he's alive, it's the great Johnny Rivers.
I agree, Tony. I agree, and I hope the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame agrees, and hopefully in 2026 he's nominated and inducted into the Hall of Fame. Well, this is our little bonus episode of the rant of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I hope everybody enjoyed. And if you don't agree or you do agree, if you have anybody else to add to the list, please add it to our comments in our video or on our Spotify page or any of our podcast pages. And for Tony and myself, we will see you on side 2, where the music fades.
The discussion begins.